Opening comment, Senator Dutton.
Yeah, this is my this is my eighth year that I've been here, and it seems like I've been here. When I got here, it was a $30 billion deficit, and frankly, I was kind of taking a look at the plan that came from the Democrat in the Assembly. It kind of resembled what we were trying to do 8 years ago by borrowing our way out of debt. Of course, back then we hadn't borrowed our way out of debt yet, at least not to the levels we have now. But the fact of the matter is, we're not going to be able to borrow our way out of this crisis any longer. The jobs agenda. I remember my first year in the Assembly 7 years ago. I got a fax. Actually, I got an email from Economic Development of Nevada, and because I was a commercial real estate broker, and so they were asking me to bring my clients to Nevada because it had a more friendly business climate. Well, that hasn't changed in the last 8 years either. We still have states trying to attract businesses from California. So if you're truly serious about wanting to create jobs, there's been a lot of proposals that have been on the table for over 8 years that I've been here that can actually help us do all that. But the fact of the matter is, if you keep growing government and you only concentrate on government jobs and businesses that are dependent on government revenue or revenue from the government, then you're not going to get out of this nightmare that we're currently in. I would like to feel confident about being here. I always have been. I always try to look at the glass as half full or half empty, as opposed to half full instead of half empty. But so far, I've got a real problem because I haven't seen this be a successful thing. I hope you're serious about wanting a true bipartisan approach. I'm going to try to look at this as open-mindedly as possible, but the reality is, in past, it's basically been a process for which the Democrats of the Assembly and the Senate have actually conferred. And we haven't really given, much of our ideas really haven't been taken into serious consideration. I want everybody to realize that we're beyond the point of tricks and gimmicks. These tough choices have to be made. Senator Huff and myself have already voted for over $9 billion worth of cuts that we didn't want to make, reductions, but the fact of the matter is, you don't have the money. And you're not going to, and like you said, you got to learn to stop digging. Already this year, I've seen bills that are currently in the legislature that increase the regulatory burden on the private sector. I've seen bills that actually look at increasing expenditures and programs and things. I would look at these bills and I can't figure out where people think this money's coming from. It's just not going to happen. And just here last week or so, we're getting word now that Congress is now indicating that California won't receive $2.6 billion from the $24 billion bailout fund, or whatever you want to call it. That just increases the problem even more. The reality is, California has the capability of being a real economic engine, but you're not going to get there if we only grow government jobs and not jobs in the private sector. You've got to get the income generators that are capable of generating revenue or generating income, not just revenue. You've got to get them healthy again. And until we get serious about that and want to have a true economic growth policy that grows the private sector, does not grow government, but actually reduces government costs. And the other thing we can do too is take a look at ways and policy decisions that don't take money, but that can reduce your operating cost. If you reduced operating costs, that's even better. But so far, there's been a resistance to doing those types of things. So we're going to go ahead and continue to suggest a lot of different things that you can consider. You definitely, the Democrats control the majority. It'll be ultimately, you're in control of it. I can't do anything about that. We will try to work with you as best we can, but I just hope I'm wrong, and there will be something positive that come out of this. It's just that my experience in the last 8 years just hasn't shown that's going to be the case. So we'll be here, and we're willing to work and continue to try to get ourselves out of this nightmare. And Madam Chair, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.